One of these two will be done in the top 6 in just 10 to 15 minutes of gameplay.
Interesting, Pedro using the Cannoneer here. Cannoneer and Gobgang immediately makes me think he's using Mortar, and Lucas with Skellies and Gobgang makes me think he's using Bait. I don't know exactly about this matchup, but I want to say Lucas has a slight advantage because of the Cannoneer. It's very difficult to defend all these Bait cards with the Cannoneer, but also you only have one spell, you only have arrows.
And Cannon Cart doesn't get that last shot on its side. Lucas has to be a little careful, as we saw some funkiness yesterday. Does break down out of range, and a Princess connects on the right-hand side for 2.
So we have the Evo Bats, Evo Mortar version of the deck. Goblin Barrel coming in yet again. No arrows in cycle. Gang does clean up very well, though. And Lucas has a bit of a minuscule counter push to deal with. A Gang to support yet again.
Despite being known as a fairly good Mortar player, we didn't see any Mortar out of Pedro during his CRL monthly finals runs this year. Curious to see what he does in this spot.
Yeah, it's a good point. It might be a semi-difficult matchup for Pedro, but he is one of the best to ever do it with Mortar. So if there's anyone that can win it, it's definitely him. Evo Skellies plus Evo Goblin Barrel at the bridge, though. This is a force to be reckoned with. He defends really well left side, but Evo Goblin Barrel on the right connects yet again.
Almost past the first 2 minutes of gameplay. Double elixir flowing in 15 seconds.
Yay.
And Princess aggressive at the bridge on the left-hand lane.
Interesting decision by Pedro. He doesn't want to spend elixir defending this, so instead he goes Mortar, so that whenever he does defend the Princess, he's also able to protect his Mortar at the same time.
And Mortar targets the Doctor. Arrows behind to clear. Doctor will get taken off the board as the cannon goes to support.
Yeah, and I don't think that's what Pedro wanted to happen. I think he wanted a little bit more damage. He's just down so much. Both of his towers under 1800 HP, and he's barely scratched at the surface of Lucas.
Princess right-hand side for Lucas. 30 seconds left in regulation time. And the Evo Bats push on the right-hand side.
Ooh, the Mortar snipes the Princess. One bag gets a little bit of damage, but it's really just not enough. These Mortars really are having a difficult time of connecting.
Cannon Cart working its way up the left-hand lane. And we see Arrows looking to clear one more time. Barrel goes to the right. Arrows do clear. Ice Spirit plus Evo Skelly's left-hand lane. Bomber trying to stop it, but not enough to break through here.
Yeah, those Evo Skellies are so important to take note of. If your Arrows is not in cycle and those Skellies start making their way towards your tower, it can get very dicey very quick when you're using Cannoneer.
Keep in mind, folks, it's one spell versus no spell. Yes, they both can get on tower, and yes, Goblin Barrel's a spell. Stop telling me that. But it's not. You know it's not.
Yeah, I agree. That's got to be one of my biggest pet peeves. We're talking no direct damage spells here, but because of that, Lucas actually has even more spam, which is a huge advantage versus the Cannoneer yet again.
Should see an ability. Yep, there it goes. Miner goes to the back of the tower. Pedro has a lot of ground to make up. He really needs to hope for either a Cannon Cart breakthrough or a Mortar connection, because at the moment, Miner chip plus Arrows is not going to get it done.
Bats dropping down on defense. Here's the Evo Skelly split push to try to apply pressure. Goblin Barrel yet again as well. Arrows left-hand side.
Boy.
That's not the right decision.
Boy.
Goblin Barrel connects.
Oh my.
Evo Skellies are swarming. Lucas taking game number 1.
And Lucas pumped up there after taking a key in the bragging rights. On Pedro's side, so Lucas doesn't have a ton of information, but of course, we have now seen how deep you can go into this deck pool and still have difficulty trying to pick it. Pedro goes Ice Spirit to open into the Electro.
And here's the Raymart as well. Lucas with some sort of Raymart deck. It could be Mega Knight, it could be P.E.K.K.A, or even Recruits as we've seen today.
We've seen a lot of Ice Wiz this weekend so far. I think far more than many would anticipate. What do you attribute that to, Juicy?
Yeah, it really comes down to that small splash radius buff it got just a month or two ago. You know, I really didn't think it would be that big of a difference maker, but that splash radius makes its splash radius actually larger than even the baby dragon. So that solid splash plus how cheap it is makes it a very solid card.
And seeing the work on the left-hand side, Lucas puts some pressure on the right. Firecracker will get some crosswise chip damage to open up that lead a bit more. 24-56 on the right-hand lane with the first minute of play having passed.
Yeah, and you can see Lucas shake his head just a little bit there. He's really not happy about this King Tower activation. Usually you use Firecracker in decks where a King Tower activation might not matter too much, but when you're playing with a Mega Knight in a Ram Rider beatdown-esque push, you need to break through, and that King Tower makes it just a little bit more difficult.
Inferno Dragon coming up against the Monk, and the Monk can get reflection here, but it's not worth much as that Inferno Dragon will not be affected, so he opts to hold. That's twice now. 2 Monks played, no ability used yet.
Yeah, that's a nice call out. I saw the Monk, I was like, wow, this is gonna be solid for the Firecracker deflection for dealing with the Mega Knight. But then of course, Lucas always prepared in these matchups with an Inferno Dragon, and it just seems a little bit difficult for Lucas to break through. He is up in the damage for now though.
And this time he will activate the ability to take that Evo Firecracker off the board and get the sizzle going the opposite direction. Inferno plus Lightning. And you see Pedro just getting ready with those guards for the push.
Fisherman's down. It will not get distracted by the Electro Spirit. I like what you're saying here. I thought it was going to connect too, but the Ice Wizard, once again, showing its prowess, slowing it down, making it work.
And for a moment, you really thought that that was Lucas trying to get against the Fisherman high. Of course, quite famously back in the CRL Teams days, it was Lucas caught trying to use a Fisherman to pull a Hog Rider against the God RF. Goblins at the bridge made the connection happen. He was trying to repeat that in his favor. Ram Rider will connect. Evo Mega Knight's going to work. Firecracker coming in, trying to get the connection, does not quite touch either way. Dual lane damage for Lucas as we go into sudden death.
And Pedro is finally trying to make an offensive attack work. Evo Roll Giant at the bridge with the Monk tanking. That's one shot. Do we see two? Yes, we see two. Wait, the Fisherman's pulling as well?
Oh, boy.
Oh, my gosh, so much damage.
That is insane. It gets one more. 469. Ram Rider does connect. And oh, my word, we have a fight on our hands, Juice.
Ice Wizard is counter pushing. I mean, Lucas, if he's going to win this, he needs to get one good push going, but he reveals the Fireball. One more Fireball log and this game's over.
And now can this Ram Rider get through in time? The Fireball's there. GG, well played. Game number 3 on its way.
Oh my gosh, Rich. Of this last match. Not only did it help versus the Ram Riders.
Going cycle, given the spells he has available, but a lot of the support cards, the cycle cards, not there for him. Of course, we went through an era where Goblins was the major cycle card, but that was before Evo Skelly and a Heal Spirit?
Heal Spirit, I mean, maybe, you know, with E-Spirit and I-Spirit out, he's trying to give his deck a little bit of an extra amount or less elixir added to it. Flying Machine Heal Spirit, it makes me think of some sort of Fireball bait deck.
Log was open, and there it is. Tesla being played by Pedro. Not the Evo version, which is interesting.
Fisherman as well. I mean, this could be Recruits, Pigs. It could be something else. After seeing the Zappies, though, this looks like a pretty old-school Recruits Piggies deck.
With Fireball out, that Flying Machine's going to be annoying for Pedro to deal with. Obviously, the poison does help to a certain degree, but we'll see how much Lucas can abuse that Flying Machine today.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot of potential, too, with the poison kind of bait going on here. The Flying Machine is going to be that X factor to break through. On the other hand, we have Pedro just running with one of his most solid decks, one of the best decks, the deck that really pushed him forward towards the runner-up last year, good old Miner Poison.
And the Tesla will be key in some of these defenses.
Yeah, and I look at the decks, we actually saw Pedro use Miner in game 1, so maybe a Drill Poison. I mean, I don't see another option for win condition that could work here.
Goes to cover on the right. 6-man splits, 3-3.
And here's the Mega Knight. Mega Knight going to be super useful versus the recruits as well. I mean, looking at this matchup, I feel like Pedro's got a very nice advantage. It's all just going to depend if he can really put it together. We saw him play Minor Poison yesterday and struggle to break through.
So far, the Poison Chip on the right-hand side doing a good job. 25-76, the mark for Lucas's tower on your top right. Now here come Evo recruits way out in front. What does Lucas have in store behind this? Royal Giant to the right-hand lane.
Wow, now recruits Pigs, recruits Royal Giant. Tesla dropping down yet again with the Barbarian. Gonna deal quite nicely. I mean, that Mega Knight though, I feel like that Mega Knight, especially the Evo, will be really good at knocking that Evo Royal Giant backwards.
And the Heal Spirit, such an interesting choice. We've seen people really try to go outside of expectations. How do you feel about that Heal Spirit call though?
I actually love the Heal Spirit call. It synergizes really well with Royal Giant specifically because you can almost always guarantee the Heal Spirit to jump because of how close the Evo Royal Giant is to the bridge.
And the Poison working more. Flying Machine to get the, and there's just what you talked about, the Mega Knight knocking that Evo RG all the way back across the bridge.
And this Tesla's getting, sorry, not the Tesla, but the Flying Machine, once again getting so much value. Even if you have Poison for it, it's not instantaneous. And he misses the pull on the Ghost, though. The Ghost getting even more damage. And I just don't know how Lucas breaks through right now.
Royal Giant with the Evo recruits. Does fireball the Tesla here. Snowball to hold. RG should get a couple of shots here. And these are critical shots at this stage.
Yeah, as soon as I say it, I don't know how it's possible. He makes it happen right away. Fireball on the Tesla, the Heal Spirit we've been talking about. Heal Spirit might end up winning him this match.
Well, the way he can completely flood the board, on the one hand, lots of Poison value available for Pedro. Lots of Mega Knight drop value available for Pedro, but that also means there's a lot to cover, and this has been, so far, the story.
Yeah, the other thing that means is he can't use Poison on offense, and especially with the Goblin Drill, that is going to make things difficult. Whereas on offense for Lucas, he can use that Fireball on tower in a variety of situations.
And you see how much cover was given to that Flying Machine. Now there's the Poison value. Evo Mega Knight nowhere near that Royal Giant, so Drill has to come out on defense. Log to clear, Tesla to hold, and this will be a defense that holds on, but with 30 seconds left, you cannot just hold on, you have to do damage, and there comes the Poison on the recruits.
He does get a Poison on offense. Can he defend? He sends the Evo Drill on offense too. He doesn't have that much elixir for the Royal Giant. Ghost dropping, Tesla dropping. Drill is defended. Will the RG get a hit?
Snowball in, RG gets nothing. Fireball down, Poison ticking. Lucas needs a log. 2, 1, and Lucas takes it! 11:07 to 10:10, and his World Championship hopes continue.
I cannot believe what I just watched. I thought there was no way